Hello, everybody. Today we are going to review the movie Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End. Jeez, I could barely see that title in the reflection. So anyhow, we start off with obviously the whole crew. Actually, no, before we even get into that, before we get into the whole crew leaving, there's a whole bunch of stuff in my way. Before we get into the whole crew leaving, how was I going to start? Jeez. So the movie opens kind of, I think, maybe in the darkest way possible so far, with everybody who's even conspired with a pirate, knows somebody who knows a pirate, has had any contact with a pirate, is being hung for their crimes. And I couldn't remember what Beckett's title was in the second movie, but he is a lord, so I guess he's like one step below king. So obviously the times are changing. Pirates are becoming kind of an obsolete thing. Even though we have piracy today, obviously it's a little far more advanced than it was back then, right? And I would say there's a lot less of it now than there was in that what was it, century, I guess. What was it, like, piracy was a huge thing in, like, what, the 1600s, 1700s? I can't even remember. I know it was a huge thing a long time ago anyhow. But I digress as we're kind of getting off topic again. So, it opens with that, which was kind of dark, and they're singing this song about raising the colors. So it kind of sets, I guess, a precedent. Presidents? Is that right? No. Precedents? Precedents. I think that's how you say it. For the rest of the movie. I hope you guys get what I'm trying to say there anyway. So then we go into the actual crew going to look for Jack. He's stuck in Davy Jones' locker, so it's kind of like limbo, I guess, or maybe like almost like purgatory. He's stuck between actual life and death, so they have to get him out of Davy Jones' locker and back into the real world and back under the Black Pearl to captain the ship, because things are going south. Obviously, the East India Trading Company is taking over everything, thanks to Beckett. We now have Admiral. Oh, God damn, why can't I think of his name? Admiral Norrington, right. He's obviously been upgraded thanks to help from Beckett, and there are a couple other characters in here. So Captain Sao Fang, who is played by Chow Yun Fat. That's his name. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And later on in the movie, I'll reveal another character that I actually spotted when I was young going to see this movie, just because I knew who the Rolling Stones were. So it was kind of a very iconic moment for this person in this movie, I would say. So yeah, they go to Singapore first. That's kind of where we start. They're trying to make a deal to find a crew, a bigger crew, obviously, than what they had with, what was her name? Tia? Yeah, she's probably up here a little bit further. Yeah. So yeah, they're trying to find their crew. The East India Trading Company has kind of made their way into Singapore as well. So it seems they have control all over the place. So pirates are having a harder time meeting. And then they've infiltrated the East India Trading Company, and the British have already infiltrated Barbossa's plan by the time they even make it to by the time they even make it to Sao Fang. So there's this big, huge battle scene at the very beginning of the movie. Obviously, they make it out okay. Will could have died easily. at the hands of the British, because the one guy that is like Beckett's right-hand man always seems to be in the right place at the right time, and hears that he's going to be betray everybody else, and he just wants to free his father, right? So he knows he can do that with the Black Pearl. Obviously, South Fang ends up betraying Will later on in the movie when they get captured again by the British. So, yeah, things don't seem to be going well for anybody until they meet with the, I believe it was the 9 pirate lords, and it was the, what did they call the meeting? The meeting of the Brethren or something? Something along those lines. And there was this 9 pieces of 8 thing, which was kind of an ironic thing, because there's 9 pirate lords, right? So 9 pieces of 8, that's what they called it. But they just end up pulling out whatever kind of like item they have in their pocket to say that they're a lord, which was funny. And then obviously when Captain T comes out, who was played by Keith Richards, he goes through the whole rule book and the pirate code, I guess. They're not really sticking to it, and they should be. Obviously, if they want any chance of winning or staying as pirates, right? So Jack is always just planning constantly. He wants to become the captain of the Flying Dutchman so that he can live it out an eternity and not have any chance of actually dying. That's what he wanted. So he's obviously still after the heart. Obviously, the Dutchman is now in the control of Beckett because he has the heart, so he controls basically what Davy Jones does, because if he doesn't, he'll just kill himself, I guess, or have somebody else do it, and the British will be basically captaining every ship in the Caribbean, which would be bad for business for the pirates, for sure. So Elizabeth is actually appointed king when Jack votes for her too, because in the past there hasn't been a new king appointed to the pirates since, I don't know how many years they said, but it's been quite some time, because everybody just votes for themselves, right? But Jack votes for Elizabeth, and I couldn't remember her original last name. It was Elizabeth Swan, was her original last name. But obviously she takes the Turner name because her and Will finally get married in this movie, although it wasn't the most, probably not quite the ceremony they wanted, because they were in battle with the, is it the Duchess? Was that the name of, I believe that was the name of Davy Jones's ship, was the Duchess, yeah. So they're in battle with it in this huge thing after they release Tia, who I guess was the human form of this god named Calypso, who we find out that Davy Jones was in love with when he was in human form himself, and the only reason he's changed is because he hasn't ferried souls into the afterlife. He's become selfish and turned into the creature that he is now. So I guess that's a life lesson to anybody. Do unto others what you want them to do to you, right? And obviously, if you have that big of a burden, you should probably follow it if you want to keep your original form, I guess, because, yeah, Johnny Depp goes, oh, I don't have the, or Jack said he didn't have the face for tentacles when he was told that if he didn't ferry souls into the afterlife, he would turn into what Davy Jones did, so it's kind of funny. So yeah, they get married during this big battle. Barbossa, I guess, is the minister that ordains the whole situation, which was kind of funny. That scene was comical. Other than that, I think this movie kind of took itself a lot more seriously than the first two, and Jack was just about to take control of the Flying Dutchman. Right, it was the Flying Dutchman. That was the name of the Barbossa, or, Barbossa's. Wasn't it the Flying Dutchman? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it was the Flying Dutchman, was the name of Davy Jones's ship. Right. Was it this movie? I think it was actually the last movie where the Kraken is killed. It might have been this one, though. No, that, because, damn it, I think it was the last movie where the Kraken was killed. If it was this movie, I'm sorry that I didn't really touch on it that much. But anyhow, no, it was the second movie. That's right, because Jack was dead for most of this movie. So, where was I? Oh, yes, Jack was just about to take control of the Flying Dutchman when all of a sudden Davy Jones stabs Will in the heart. So now Jack has to put the knife, or what's left of his sword, into Will's hands and stab the heart that way, so that Will becomes the captain of the Flying Dutchman, which ends up working out for him because Beckett comes out to destroy, obviously, the Black Pearl, and then when the Dutchman turns on him, he knows he's done for. So they're trying to say, orders, Captain, orders, and he just stands there and says it's just good for business because he's just in complete shock. He knows that he's not going to make it out of that situation alive. And then Will goes on to be the captain, so every 10 years he can come see Elizabeth, and I guess she was pregnant because at the end, after the credits, it shows their child, so that would suck for Will because he's only able to come see his kid every 10 years, although that doesn't really make any sense because he could just have them come onto the ship. But, nah, yeah, I don't understand that part of it. But anyway. So, I think that's about it that I can cover for this movie. Yeah, obviously Jack was just as deceitful as some of the other movies. Not quite getting his way, obviously, because he would have liked to have been the captain of the Flying Dutchman, clearly, but things didn't turn out that way. And his ship gets stolen again at the end, so now he's running after his ship again. But Barbossa thinks that he has the dial thing that they were using to find Jack and to get all the other clues that they needed to find certain things throughout the movie that I don't want to ruin because I think that would be too much information. So now they are going to look for the Fountain of Youth, and obviously Barbossa is hoping that Jack will probably find them now because he's left Jack behind with the actual dial to find the Fountain of Youth. So Jack will be in the right direction. Obviously Barbossa will probably just end up getting lost again like he did in order to find Jack, because that's what he said. In order to find the things that in order to find the things that you can't find, you have to get lost to find it. Otherwise, everybody would know where it was. Kind of an iconic and funny line. But anyhow, I would give this movie, I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10, because it wasn't my favorite out of all of them. Yeah, I think just a 7.5. I don't know, that's just kind of what I'm feeling. I still like this movie, it just wasn't as good as the first two by far. Yeah, just that second one. That second one will always be stuck in my head. Some of those scenes that are always just too funny, not too and it was just a far better movie than the third one, I think. And now I can't remember anything about the fourth one, but I am about to do a review of that as well. So, but before I go, as always, please like, share, subscribe, and comment down below your thoughts on this film if you've seen it. If not, please go watch it before watching this review. I'm sure most people do. Or maybe you just want to know a little bit more about the movie before you go into it. But I highly recommend going to see this movie because obviously, and I should say more at the end of videos, that my opinion is going to be different than yours, so don't just take my opinion of the movie as your own, because I know a lot of people, I know a lot of movies that I've not taken the time to watch just because certain people are like, oh, that movie's no good, and then you watch it and you're like, wow, that was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. Maybe it's just because you're going into it with lower expectations. I don't know. Sometimes I've done that with certain movies and I'm like, I'm not really sure about this one, so I'm just going to go into it with an open mind, and then it kind of leaves it, you kind of leave the theater or wherever you're watching the movie in a, like, oh, that movie was better than what I thought it was going to be. And sometimes I have high expectations for movies and they're worse than I thought they were going to be. So, yeah, you never know. You never know with movies. But anyhow, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye for now.